to part 3 of my devlog. In this part, uh, we're this is what we're gonna be working on. Well, more accurately, this is where we left off. I said I would work on integrating the sandbox dialogue system from before into the actual game, and I would work on improving the enemy AI. There's also some stuff in here about plot and dialogue. It's down here. I'll get into it. Boom. But for now, let's just show what the game looks like. So, tiny visual thing. You'll see in 1 second. I made it a lot darker. That's because I'm setting the way, because I mean, it's going to be dark in the end. Um, so I'm just setting the way to introduce more lighting into the mall, which hopefully will be in. I didn't include in the sprint, which I probably should have. That will be included. Trust. But that is why it's dark. Anyway, that important. Who's this? I don't know. He's just a guy. Ignore his T-pose also. That neither of these are permanent. They're just assets. Well, I mean, the look might be. Shout out to. I will put in the description who made these because they're cool, and I found them on Itch, and I'm very grateful. But yeah. Anyway, eat or interact. Whoa, what is this? Sorcery. This wasn't in the game last time. Boom. Quintus, get in here. Okay, a couple issues. We're just gonna pretend the issues aren't there for a second. What do you mean you need to go back out there? Just sit in here and wait for him. Well, if you need to get back out there, take this. And then he gives us nothing. So, dialogue. Just really quick, going to what it looks like on the back end. If you watched the last video, this would be very familiar, because this is how I added dialogue in the sandbox to the dialogue list and all that. And so I basically just ported that over to here. What happens is, his name is Marcus. I haven't added it, so it displays the correct name yet. That's for a variety of reasons, which I will hopefully remember to get into at some point. But yeah, so you give them the speaker name, you give a progression flag that unlocks the dialogue, and then you give the dialogue separated by these these slashes that basically separate the dialogue the way you saw there. And then to click through, you just click through. So, first issue. Or first thing you'll notice, I'll say, to pat myself on the back before I tear myself down. There's a new font. Before I was just using the debug font. You'll see in the top left. I'm pointing with my finger, but you can't see that. In the top left, you'll see where it says test. That's the debug font. That's the font I use for debugging, like logs and stuff. Not important, but that's what I was using before, and it's obviously very ugly. And this new font's much nicer. Anyway, so there's no background, and with the black text, that just makes it very hard to read, especially on this carpet. If I come over here to, I think it's this bush, that I gave dialogue because why not? You can see it's a lot easier to read because it's on a white background. But both of these things are included in. They're going to be on the next sprint. I need to have a way to add a background to the text, and also notice here, create some way for the text to wrap around itself. Because currently, again, you can't see, but I'm pointing to the very end. The text goes beyond the screen, and so you just can't read it, which obviously is not intentional and is an issue. But anyway, moving on. So that was this part of the sprint right here. That's that done. Enemy AI. So if I spawn an enemy and I let him come towards me, you can see before. Okay, right now the path he's following is an A-star path. So here I can actually showcase this. This part, yeah. Okay. Is it this one? Hold on. Shoot. What button was it? Is it this one? Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay. Point is he's following an A-star path until he gets within a certain distance to me, and then he will head straight towards me. So look, right now he's heading straight towards me. If I run far away, he will follow an A-star path towards me. You can see he's not facing me. He's just following a straight line, and coming down towards me. And then right here, he's now following me directly. But anyway, so that was a change to the AI, and so but this obviously comes with an issue where kind of just showcase there. He'll go through walls if he just head straight for me. So the behavior I want out of him is if he hits a wall, he will generate a new path and go around that wall. So you just did it there, and then I come outside. If I just get him to chase me out here, you can see it a lot better. See, he hit the wall there. Actually, here's where it'll come in handy. He hit the wall, and he's finding a new path. Oh, wait, there's the line I was looking for. Yeah, that line under him, that's basically him following the A-star path. But, sorry, sorry that was so difficult to showcase earlier. Anyway, so, yeah, that's new enemy AI. Yeah, enough of that. Let's see, anything else? Nope, I think that's it. Fog is still a thing. This can spawn a bunch of enemies. It works with all of them. Obviously, you would hope so. However, perfectly timed, as you'll notice. It's not perfect, and they are still going through walls pretty regularly. So that is also on the next sprint. Anyway, so I guess before I move on to the plot stuff I did, let me talk a bit about the code. So most of it is exactly what I showed off last week in the sandbox. This is the dialogue text. It is the container for all the dialogue, essentially. Yeah, and it basically functions by just returning the next line of dialogue and kind of looping through that. That's how I got that effect of like splitting up the single line of dialogue into multiple click-throughs. Yeah, pretty much all that is different is um, is here. I think in the original code, whenever whenever it would whenever I got to the end of the string, it would just return an empty string, which is causing a crash. So right now it always just returns a string, even if it's reached the end. It just resets to the beginning. Except by that point, it shouldn't. The dialogue manager should know that the text is complete and will basically end the dialogue. Let me see if I can find the dialogue manager so I can showcase that. So when the player clicks, it calls advanced dialogue on the dialogue manager, and then that tells the dialogue display to advance. And then if the dialogue text tells the dialogue display that it's complete, basically that it showed everything it has to show, it'll call player manager and tell it to end the dialogue. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Other than that, here's a nice little class diagram. Sorry for the flashbang that I made to showcase the whole system. So at the top, so you have this dialogue manager. It has a map of the characters along with the dialogue list. So the name of the character maps to the dialogue list of that character, and every character. Oh, that's probably something I guess I should just talk about. This game object character, it's very, very, very work in progress, very temporary. Right now, all it's doing basically is just hard creating a character, giving them, like spawning them into the scene, giving them, activating their dialogue component, and then just drawing them to the scene. It's very, 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 very rudimentary. Obviously, that will be expanded upon. Probably not in this sprint. Probably the sprint's coming up. or maybe in the sprint. I don't know. Let's see. I'll get into it. But yeah, pretty simple what that game object character is. But the important thing here, for our purposes today, is that it has this dialogue component. Um, Dialogue component, again, I talked about in the last episode. It basically contains all the logic for not only the dialogue list, but also being able to actually go up to it in the game and interact with it, which all stems from this interactable class which I created, which I don't think I'll go into in this video. Maybe I might make it a separate video, or just never go into it. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, so dialogue component has a dialogue list. A dialogue list is a map of dialogue text with player progression flags, and then dialogue text, or a dialogue display. It has a dialogue text, the current dialogue text, and that it just advances through until it's complete, basically. And yeah, that's pretty much it. On the code side, moving on to the rest of the sprint that I haven't crossed off yet, but I am happy to say that is done. So, okay, starting with the plot. Before I get to the little script I wrote, mini script that is not even done, and yeah. So, here's the basic plot. I'm thinking. I don't want to give the whole thing away. Maybe. I mean, maybe. um, Mall shut down. Okay, here's the scene. Picture this. Character walks out of the bathroom. Looks out. Whoa, what's happening? Zombie outbreak. They start arming themselves to contact the outside. One plot point I know I want in there is the needing to go to the basement to have to restore power to the mall because I guess the power got cut or something. Very Call of Duty Zombies vibes there. Once they restore the power, they get in contact with the army. The army tells the player they need to get to the roof to be rescued. Rescued, it's misspelled, but who cares? Player fights to the roof, and you can see it's kind of in an arc here. You know, plot or whatever. Plot storytelling. Anyway, player gets to the roof just in time to, I don't know yet. I haven't decided, or maybe I have decided, and I'm not going to tell you to spoil it. But yeah, that's the plot. If we come over here to the script I wrote, so that's the little plot. I guess I didn't really do this part, but we can pretend. Oops, this is where I need to cross off. There you go. Wow, so satisfying. Anyway, okay, script. Opens a player leaving the bathroom. Alarm in the mall is blaring. Zombies are roaming the mall. I'm not sure how cutscenes are going to work, or if there are even going to be cutscenes. And not just like text explaining what's happening, or what happened. I'll see. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Obviously I'd like for there to be cutscenes, and I don't think they'd be hard to do with the animation manager that is planned. This thing. But we'll see. Anyway, oops, spoiler alert. Player runs to closest store. Cashier is trying to fight off zombies. Player helps fight them off. Cashier, thanks for the help. Sorry, I'm not a voice actor, but I'll do my best. Player, what's happening? Cashier, I don't know. And you say with little slashes, so you click. Imagine you're clicking. Some crazy lady came in here screaming about a fire. Click. Next thing I know, she's biting all my customers and everyone's tearing each other apart. God help us. I put this line in here because I want there to be some sort of tie-in with how, as you're like turning to a zombie, it like burns, and that's why she's screaming about a fire. Anyway, are there any other survivors? We've got to help them. I don't know, and I don't care to find out. Okay. You know what? You can read. You can read. Basically, cashier tells the player, I'm not gonna help anyone. I'm not leaving this restaurant. Mostly because I don't want to animate any sort of movement from the cashier. I just want them to stay in one place. But yeah, and he tells the player you can arm yourself with whatever you want in my little store, and you can go out and do whatever you want. And so that's what the player does. And so he goes out, and the basic layout of like I guess the open area of the mall is there's gonna be just like packs of zombies wandering around, and that's how the spawning system's gonna kind of work. Just gonna spawn like packs of zombies. They're gonna just kind of wander around. Um, then next plot point in one corner, the player can encounter a survivor, and then they tell them about the power situation. The power's down. They need to restart it. Blah blah blah. That's the basics of it. That's what I've got so far. I mean, um, but yeah, pretty simple script, but it's something to work off of, which is more than I had last week. Um, so moving on. That's it for this week. What's going on next week? So next week, here are the objectives. Um, so first things first, bug fixing. Yeah, I want to fix the bugs before they pile on. You saw zombies are walking through walls sometimes. That's not good. How do I fix it? So I think the issue fundamentally comes from, if I can be allowed to draw here, in the A star grid, uh, where 0 is free and a 1 is like a wall. Um, when a zombie's like here, the A star algorithm is telling it, um, hey, the closest way like towards the target is this way, because it's not considering that it passes through a this closed off area. So that's the issue, I think, and that's how I need to fix it. Um, Second thing, I don't. I guess I didn't really talk about it, but um, I'm not. I don't want to test for collision. I don't want every single zombie to constantly be checking for collision, even if it's just wandering around and doing nothing, or like nowhere near the player, or even just like using its A star pathing, because that guarantees it's not gonna run into anything. But the reason is that will just be, for all the zombies there's gonna be, that would be way too many tests that are just not necessary. So what I'm doing right now is whenever, again, sorry for the flashbang, whenever I get into the aggro pathing behavior, which is what I call this, the behavior where it's run into the wall and is trying to find a path around. What I've done is whenever it gets into this behavior, it will activate. That's when it'll start searching for collisions. However, the issue with this is that if the well, you can probably already tell, if the zombie isn't close enough to um, trigger this behavior, it will you can't shoot it because it's not testing for collision even against the player's shoot ray. So you need to. So what I'm thinking of doing is creating another separate ray that the zombie shoots in front of itself, essentially, to test whether that's colliding with anything, um, and then that will determine whether or not the uh, zombie goes into pathing mode, aggressive pathing mode, is what I called it. And I guess I didn't talk about this code, but this is what it looks like. If I can find it, sorry. Scene collision. No, not this. Oh wait, yes, this actually. So we can see when it collides with a scene asset or a wall, it will start this alarm, telling it basically when to go back to the normal aggressive mode, and it'll go into aggressive pathing mode. And then this is what the alarm does. All the alarm does is, oh, oops, not there. Sorry. Where is the alarm? Sorry. 0. Okay, here. The alarm just basically puts it back into the aggressive state, so it's heading straight for the player again. Yeah. So basically, it'll try to find a path to the player, and then if it hits something, if it hits something, it'll try and find a path around whatever it just hit to get to the player, and then it will go back to chasing the player directly. But yeah, sorry, tangent. Okay, all that to say, that this is something that needs to be worked on for next week. Next thing is starting to design the first level. So I already talked about it here, kind of what it is. Uh, Basically this part. Um, so the cashier interaction. I want to add a bat as a weapon without an animation to because I don't want the player to just start out with guns. I kind of want it to progress. You know, the weaponry that's available to them. Um, and then basically just set up how the plot, how what the plot's gonna look like on the code side, because I have no idea what it's gonna look like right now, and yeah, that needs to start getting worked on. Finally, UI stuff. So like I already talked about, the string, it doesn't wrap, it just goes off screen. That needs to be fixed. I need to create some way to have a background. Um, that right now it's tricky for a lot of reasons. That, I mean, if anyone has any advice on in the comments, that would be cool. Or advice on any of my code. I've included it in my descriptions, but I haven't said it. If you see anything wrong with my code, please yell at me in the comments. I'm like straight out of college. I'm not a good coder. Please help me. Um, but yeah, I think that is about it. Ding. Thanks for watching.